Hello and welcome to this tutorial. In this tutorial, we are going to learn how to code questionnaire in SPSS. So let's get started. I have a sample questionnaire here that we are going to code in SPSS. So to code the questionnaire, I am going to tile the windows side by side so that we can see which questionnaire item that we are coding. So we have to make it side by side. Okay, so if you look at the questionnaire I have here, we have a whole lot of questions on the questionnaire. Remember that each question on the questionnaire is a variable. So gender is a variable, age is a variable, and so forth. And we have the Likert scale items here, and we also have an open-ended item here. So let's start coding. When you come to SPSS, to enter the variables, we have what is called the variable view. So we select the variable view, and then we name the variable. But you have to note that the first variable name that you should give is the serial number. So let's type here SN. When typing variable names, you do not leave a space between them. Let's leave it as numeric because we are going to enter numbers, and also the width is the number of items we are going to enter. So the width will not be more than 8. Let's reduce the decimal to 0 and let's label it. The label is the description of the variable. So this label, we are going to call it questionnaire number. This is very important because it will help us to identify the missing questionnaire or to identify each questionnaire by their number. Then the measure, let's select scale. Okay, so since we have created a serial number for the questionnaire, when you collect the data, you have to number all the questionnaires, and that number will help you to identify each questionnaire. Let's come to the first question. To help us enter data easily, we are going to give the first question a variable name of Q1. Q1 means question 1. Then we are going to leave it as numeric, reduce the decimal point to 2, from 2 to 0, and then the label is going to be gender of participant. Then this variable have values. It has two values of male and female. So we are going to give it values by clicking in here. And we are going to use this value label to identify the values. So we are going to use 1 to represent female and add it, and then we represent 2 as male, then we add. So this means that when we enter 1 is a female and when we enter 2 is a male. Then the alignment and the column, and then the scale. This is a nominal scale because male and female are names and we cannot perform any calculation with them. For example, you cannot add male to female. It won't make statistical sense. Then let's come to the next variable. Let's call it Q2. Q2 is the age in years. So we are going to type in the label age. Now that we have typed the age, since this one is a variable that they are going to enter data, it doesn't have values. So we leave the values empty, and then we are going to give it a measure of a scale because it is going to be a continuous number. Then we move to question 3. Question 3 also has values. So this one is going to be numeric. And then we reduce the decimal, and question 3 is pre-entry qualification. Then the values for question 3 are going to be entered here. So this is going to be nominal and the values are going to be entered in here. So the values are going to be 1 for SSE stroke WASI. Add it. 2 is going for teacher certificate. A. Add it. Then 3 is going for diploma. add it, and then 4 is going for HMD. Then we add it and click OK. So we have finished declaring question 3 as a variable. Now let's go to the Likert scale items. That is question 4 going. From question 4 going, you see that all these are Likert scale. We have SA for strongly agree to strongly disagree. And to enter it, let's call this question 4. And then reduce the decimal to 0. The label is going to be the question. So we can copy the question in question 4 and paste it in the label by using Ctrl C and Ctrl V. So that is the label. And then it has values because of the Likert scale. So we are going to add values to the Likert scale. So 1 is going to be based on the criteria we have here. 1 is strongly disagree. You can use strongly disagree, or simply let's use SD. Add 2 is disagree. Let's use D. 3 is neutral. Let's use N. 4 is agree. Let's use A. And then 5 is strongly disagree. SD. Sorry, strongly agree. Let's use SA. And then click OK. So we have set Likert scale item for this. So we are going to continue with the Likert scale item. So let's code question 5, question 6, question 6, question 7, question 8, and question 9. And we copy the question items as they are labels. So question 5, we are going to copy this, Control copy, and we paste it here. And then question 6 2, we copy the label of the questionnaire, and then we paste it. Question 7, we copy the label, and then we paste it. Question 8, we copy the label, then we paste it. Then question 9, copy the label, then we paste it. Now you see that we have finished entering the questions, but all these are on the same Likert scale item. So we can copy the values that we did for the question 4 and then select all these values and then right click and paste. So all of these are the Likert scale items. Then we are going to code question 10. Question 10 is an open-ended question. As you can see, it's an open-ended question. So question 10, we are going to, instead of using numeric as the type, we are going to change it from numeric to string so that we can enter whatever the participant will write here. And the number of characters, we can increase it to 100 so that it can contain a lengthy paragraph. Then we click OK. And then question 10, we are going to copy the question and put it as the label. It is better to copy the question as the label because it will help you to easily identify the question. Now let's go back to the data view. We have finished entering the questionnaire. So we have coded from question 1 up to question 10. Now let's go back to the data view. Now you see that the question 10 is nominal automatically because we are going to enter strings, but we haven't set the scale or the measure for these Likert scale items. Likert scale items are always ordinal because they are in order. That is, strongly disagree is lower than strongly agree, or strongly agree is higher than strongly disagree. So it is an ordinal data. Then let's move to the data view. When you click on the data view, you see that the variables that we declared in the variable view are displayed here. So we have SN, questionnaire number, question 1. If you leave your cursor there, it will give you the label of that question. So now we have prepared SPSS for data entry. I hope you enjoy this questionnaire. I hope you enjoy this questionnaire entry. We'll meet again in the next tutorial.